Good evening, everyone. Smiley here. Happy New Year. Just going to check I'm in the right place. Come on in and say hello. Good evening. Welcome to my free Smiley's Year in Review training. How are you all doing? Come on in and say hi if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. Hi Karen, Happy New Year to you. It's nice to see a familiar face. I'm just having a look on my laptop to make sure I'm in the right place. Can you hear me okay? Can you give me a thumbs up? You never know when you do these things, do you? I haven't done one for a long time. I'm feeling a bit rusty. We broke up for the energy pod in the second week of December, didn't we? So, hi Lindsay, Happy New Year. Hi Lane, Happy New Year. Ladies, thank you for being here. It's really lovely to have you here. Good, all good, excellent. So, just to give you an overview while people are coming in, we'll give people a chance to join us. We're going to have a quick look back at last year and pick up any lessons learned and just see where we're at with stuff. Try and focus on some of the positive things because I think we have a tendency to look at the negative because our brains are wired that way. And then we're going to look forward and we're going to try and end on setting a plan or at least having some goals in sight and feeling motivated to take action. So I'm hoping that you will find it useful. We will probably be here for about 45 minutes. It's not going to be a long sesh. And if you've got any questions to ask me, then save them till the end and I will hang around and answer as many questions as possible. Hi Nikki, thanks for being here. You can hear me fine. Great. Thanks, Karen. That's great. Yeah, and so have your questions ready at the end. Hold fire and I will stay online and I will try and answer as many of them as possible. Hi, Caroline. Happy New Year to you and your lovely family. It's nice to have you here. I hope you all had lovely Christmases and I don't know how you feel about a new year. I'm kind of mixed feelings because I love the thought of like a clean page. You know, I was always that kid at school who always had to, like, if I crossed out, I wanted to turn over and start a new to-do page. And I love ticking stuff off. And I love making lists and I love making plans. But I'm also not very good at goodbyes. I don't know why they call them goodbyes because in my head they're not good. So, yeah, I have mixed feelings. But there's a sort of excitement in the air for me. There's an energy of excitement this year as I look at my business and my life. And it's going to be very different to last year. So that's exciting. Hi, Michelle. Happy New Year to you too. Wow, you're all here in full force tonight. I really appreciate you showing up. That's commitment, isn't it? That's a good start. That's a really good start. So, I don't have a cheat sheet for you today or a handout because I have had proper downtime over Christmas and New Year and haven't done any work. So I've just got my lovely scribbles and notes that I've made for you while I've been sitting here eating my dinner. And so you just need a pen and paper. You will probably want to write stuff down. I always think when we write stuff down, we commit it to memory. That's one thing I'm doing this year. I am writing my goals down every morning when I do my angel cards / Smiley Thought Cards to start my day. Well, when we write stuff down, we do commit it to memory. So write it down. Write it down. So I'm just going to wait another couple of minutes. Only 3 minutes past. I'll wait till 5. I'll start at 5 past. Everyone have good Christmases or are we done? Are we done with it all? It gets a bit much in the end, doesn't it? It's very intense. If you're getting together as a family, I don't know if all the kids have gone back to school. I know some of them went back yesterday, but I know some of them aren't going back. Some of my clients aren't going back till Monday. I started coaching again today. So that was nice. I was raring to go. I had a long enough break that when I came back to it, I was like, yes, I'm up for this. It's good. And the energy pod starts again on Monday. So energy podders, get ready because we're going to be doing the energy of motivation. So I'm going to be Mrs. Motivator. I'm going to motivate you all. Hopefully. Right. Well, just going to give everyone 1 more minute and then we're going to start. You're kind of pleased to get back into normal, Elaine. Yeah. It's something about routine which is really comforting, isn't it? And I think over Christmas we do things to excess and then we crave, like I crave broccoli and green food. I'm done with cheese. I love cheese, but I'm done with it. Very Very done with the wants and the wants and the wants. Ah, Tracy, I'm hearing you. Hi, Tracy. You went away on Boxing Day for the first time. Nice for a change of scenery. Nice to do something different. Yeah. You're all going back next week. You need your routine back, and so do the kids. See, routine is boundaries, people, and kids need those. And they need to know where they're at. And they get very... I was with kids over Christmas time, and they get very hyper, and it all gets very overwhelming. And if there's any unsuppressed feelings by big people in the room, small people tend to pick them up and act them out for you. So whilst you think you're hiding them from your in-laws or your parents or your friends, your kids are doing a nice little show to let everyone know how you're feeling. It's just how it works, isn't it? They especially the sensitive ones, they pick up on that stuff. Right, so it's 6 minutes past. I'm gassing on, so let's get cracking. So on your piece of paper, I want you to write at the top 2018. So let's do that first. I want you to describe your year in 3 words. Feel free to type into the chat if you want to. But if you want to keep your comments private, your answers private, please don't feel any pressure to share. But it's quite nice for me to bounce off you. So where you can share, I would appreciate that. So I'm going to describe my year in 3 words. My year was soul searching, grief stricken, and healing. It was a massive year for like clearing out the crap, basically, but had to go really deep and feel those feelings to kind of come out the other side. It's a big year. It was a big year for me. I feel like I've run a marathon. And in usual Smiley style, I'm deflecting with humour and laughing. It wasn't funny at all, but hey, I learnt a lot about myself and I needed to go there, so good work. It was a roller coaster, fun and tiring, yeah. Full appointments, chaotic and no time. Okay, I'm mentally noting what you're saying. So quite full on, quite up and down, chaotic. Hi Joanna, if you're just joining us, we're just saying we're going back and looking at 2018. You need a piece of paper and a pen. If you just write at the top 3 words to describe your 2018, you don't have to share if you don't want to. Fun-filled but challenging, 4 words. That's okay, Michelle. You can have an extra word. My boundaries are slipping already. Preparing, improving and calm. Good, very positive. Yeah. And I think when it comes to challenging, I think if it's not challenging, we're not learning stuff. So I don't necessarily see that as a negative thing. It's just having the tools to be able to cope with the challenge and bouncing back from the challenges, isn't it, really? Which is what life is all about. We can't avoid the bumps in the road. That's what we're trying to teach the children. You know, it's not about wrapping them in cotton wool. And it's not about fa-la-la-la-la, being happy all the time. Happiness is from in here. Coached some children already today. And they were trying to, telling me that they didn't feel like they were in control of their thoughts and feelings, and they felt like other people were responsible for them. So that's always a sign that a child is being overparented and isn't being allowed to feel their own feelings, and not aware of their own power. But one of the things I've noticed about you guys that I learned from you guys last year is you're not aware of your own power. You're not aware of how powerful you are as a parent. You often feel helpless and powerless when actually you have a lot of power and you forget that you have choices. So we can talk about that a bit tonight, I think. Challenging, tiring and stressful. Right on. So another one that found it challenging and tiring. Exhausting, sadness and cathartic. Yeah. And with that sadness or with that grief, with those losses, does come healing. If you can go there, people, if you can have the courage, or you can be with the right people that can hold your hand through it, it is cathartic. But sometimes you don't have a choice because life, it happened, you know, it's out of your control, isn't it? Yeah. So thank you for sharing your 3 words with me. So what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to separate your piece of paper into 4, to draw across in the middle, and I want you to have 4 boxes. In the top left-hand box, I'd like you to write what's working. In the right-hand box, I'd like you to write what's not working. In the bottom left-hand box, I'd like you to write what I enjoy. And in the bottom right-hand box, I'd like you to write what I hate doing. I'm going to say those again. Section your paper into 4. Top left-hand box, what's working. Top right-hand box, what's not working. Bottom left-hand box, what I enjoy. Bottom right-hand box, what do I hate doing? Okay? Is that clear? Anyone want me to repeat that? Just let me know and I'll repeat it again. How do you get them to own their feelings though? Oh, good question, Tracy. Can I make a note of that? I'm going to come back. Can I make a note of that and come back to that at the end? I'm wondering if you own your own feelings. Because that's something that's role model to us. So we'll have a look at that, Tracy. Good question. Good question. Right. So have you got your 4 boxes? Give me a thumbs up if you've got your 4 boxes and you're ready. Hi, Lindsay. Welcome back. Don't worry. Right. So in the top left-hand box, what's working? In the top right-hand box, what's not working? In the bottom left-hand box, what I enjoy. In the bottom right-hand box, what I hate. So you just have a grid like that. I've already filled mine out, so I don't really want to show it to you because I'm going to talk you through it. So what's working, what's not working, what I enjoy, what I hate. Hate's a strong word, isn't it? My mum always used to say, don't say hate, it's such a strong word. But sometimes we do hate things, don't we? We do. Hopefully not people, though. Right, so, ready. So in the what's working box, I want you to answer the following questions. So I've got some specifics for you. What are you most proud of? So what are you most proud of from last year? I'm noting that, Tracy, that it's anger. I've got some thoughts about that. Anger, it's normally anger that people don't want to own. Right, so what are you most proud of this year? If you'd like to share in the chat roll, please do. If you want to keep it to yourself, you can. I'm really proud that my Smiley Thought Cards were made into an app for Alexa. So now you can get voice-assisted Smiley Thought Cards. And someone made that for me for free. And so not only was that a really nice gift for someone that I do write for, I write for their publication, but it was a massive gift. It means that more children can have positive thoughts over their breakfast in the morning if they've got an Alexa. Your trip to Australia. Yeah, that's a trip of a lifetime, isn't it? It's a long way to go, but it is definitely a trip of a lifetime. That's lovely. Really lovely. Anyone else want to share what they're most proud of? If you just want to take a quiet moment with yourself. I think it's really important to celebrate successes and look at the things that work, because most of the time we're moaning and asking people to do things that they're not doing and probably getting on their case about it and worrying about stuff. There's a lot of anxiety when you're a parent, I'm hearing. Completing your diploma. Well done, Elaine. That's massive. Be really proud. I'm proud of you. That's so good. Well done. Well done. Well done. Being at peace with leaving your job of 19. Yeah, job of 19 years. Caroline, that's huge. And such a big thing to let go of. Such a big thing. Well done. Well done. Amazing. Be proud. Completing 70 hours of counselling on your first placement. Well done, Lindsay. That's really good as well. You women, you're amazing. You're running a house, you're running a family, and you're doing all these great things. Amazing. Helping your daughter feel better about going to school. Amazing. Amazing. That ain't no mean feat, is it? That's very good. So second question, what are you most grateful for? What are you most grateful for last year? I put doing this job. I am actually really grateful that my past was the way that it was. And I'm really grateful that I'm able to take my trauma and turn it into something really positive and make a difference to other people's lives. I know that sounds really cheesy, and I haven't felt grateful for it because it's floored me at times. But I do. I feel really grateful for that. Because there would be no Smiley Coaching if that hadn't been the case. So, and I'm at a place where I can accept that and not push it away or feel bad about it. So that's good. You're proud of your daughter completing her first term at secondary school. Brilliant. Excellent. So what are you most grateful for? If you'd like to share, you can. I don't know how many of you, I know Karen, I know you do because we talk about it in the energy pod. I don't know how many of you do a daily gratitude practice, or you pay as you're going around the dinner table at night 3 things that went well today. Some people do the sweet and the sour. You know that Ed Sheeran song, we talk about the sweet and the sour. They're the lyrics to his song. So we talk about things that didn't go so well and things that went well, so that there's a balance. So we're teaching children to look for the good stuff, because they will. Our brains are wired for danger. They will look for things that make them feel unsafe or things they're unsure of. Grateful for food on the table, warm house, and your kids, yeah, and your family. And it's those really little things. Do you know what? I went for a coffee. I went for a Costa with my niece yesterday. I went to the park, and I don't know where they'd been, but she'd seen they'd been to Windsor, and she saw a load of sleeping bags. So we'd had a whole conversation about people that didn't have homes. My, she made us fill up with tears. She wanted to make them cheese sandwiches, put them in a bag and leave a note in case they were asleep, didn't want to disturb them, come up with all these cute ideas. And then she kept saying, we've got a home, we've got a toilet, we can go to the toilet whenever we want. You see, and it's just stuff like that where kids get everything they want nowadays and they get it instantly. And my sister was like, oh, do you talk to a 6-year-old about homelessness? And I was like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. They need to be aware that they're lucky, that they live in a country where we have privileges and we're lucky. You know, we have freedom and we have food and etc., etc. Support from your husband, family and friends. Yeah, that's really important to have the right people around you. Be very grateful for that. Friends who've supported you as well, Michelle, and finding Smiley for life. Oh, which has helped your kids loads. That's so lovely. Thank you very much. I'm glad. Grateful for your close friends, close family and friends who are there no matter what. Like, isn't it important to have the right team of people around you? So important. You're finding it hard, Lindsay. Lindsay, wherever you're at, it's all right. If you're not having a great time and you're finding it hard to find the good stuff, don't answer these questions. Park them and just sit with them, and they might turn up on another day when you don't feel like you feel right now. It's all right. It's okay. It's fine. Amazing friends and family. Well done. Support from friends and family in the energy pod. Oh, that's lovely, Elaine. Thank you. Amazing friends and family. Absolutely. I struggle with the fact that my children expect everything or the same as their peers. Yeah. And then that's the boundaries thing, isn't it? Constantly feeling like you're having to say no to them, which for some people can be quite triggering. I find it quite triggering when people keep on at me and have to keep saying no. Lindsay, I used to find positives really hard. Start with something really little. Yes. And it is a practice, a gratitude practice. It's something, it doesn't come easily. It doesn't come easily. It's not easy, especially when if you've had a tricky Christmas. Christmas is triggering. Or if you've not had a very good day, or you're having a tough time of it, or even when I'm struggling to find the good stuff because I want to have a row with everyone. So no judgment, just curiosity. And if I don't know the answer, I'll park it because the answer will come. It feels like a generation of kids that are me. It does. Entitlement. But entitlement is quite narcissistic, and children can be. And they need boundaries so that they know where the limits are. They know where the line is. They have to know where the line is, right? Next one. What was your best moment or highlight? So you may have already said that in your what you're most proud of. But maybe there's something else that sticks out for you. So what are you most proud of? So I am really proud that I seem to have conquered my emotional eating. I've got a handle on my inner critic, and I'm much more in touch with my feelings, and I'm not avoiding them by eating. I'm actually, and I think I've told this story before. My friend bought me this for Christmas. Look, can you see? Hot stuff. This has been what's helped me recover from emotional eating, because every time I've wanted to eat, what I really want is a cuddle. It's emotional hunger that I have. And I want comfort. And I never had a transitional object. I never had like a teddy bear or a blankie. I never had that when I was a child. My mum was actually my transitional object. So I have found a way to give myself a cuddle when I'm on my own and I want to eat. So that's pretty amazing, isn't it? I'm very, very pleased about that. Oh, Caroline. Oh no, Caroline's doing that thing where I can't see all the comment. Freddie received an award for his effort at the end of autumn term, the only child in his class. That is amazing. What a nice feeling. What a nice feeling to be met with that when you come to the school gates and not another story. That's lovely at school. So lovely. Really lovely. Thank you. Yes, having self-compassion. And also having self-compassion and self-empathy has been a big part of the not letting the inner critic sabotage or not stuff down my anger. Whoever was talking about anger earlier, not stuffing down my anger with food. Highlight is also the Australia trip, yes. And you did the last 2 weeks without your hubby. Amazing. That's and you're with the boys. It's pretty good. Well done. I did a really challenging survival. Oh, one of those, is that like an outdoorsy thing in Wales with a group of women who suffered similar pregnancy illness in October, and it was epic. There you go. Amazing. You girls are awesome. Honestly, I'm serious. We never talk about this good stuff. We just moan about the kids when we get on here, don't we? Right. Let's have a look. I'm just looking at them on here now. Tracy, highlight, daughter's doing her homework without arguing. Son reading his night reading happily. Youngest with Senko issues suffered lovely in preschool 2 mornings a week. And loves it. Oh, that's really good. Well done, Tracy. Emotionally eating chocolate, yeah. Need to reduce it. I think it helps to look at what's driving the behaviour. And what drives behaviour, guys, is feelings. And what drives feelings, guys? Thoughts. Thoughts, feelings, behaviour. Highlight, my son and his girlfriend getting engaged and meeting Gary Barlow. Did you meet Gary Barlow? Congratulations on the engagement. Wow. What was Gary Barlow like, Elaine? He seems like quite a straight-laced, down-to-earth kind of celebrity to me. Bit like Mr. Philip Schofield. I think that's why I like him. Yeah, well done. You met Gary Barlow. Now Tracy's jealous. She's got envy. Gary Barlow envy. And then I wanted to ask you, who was your greatest influence this year? I'm often teaching the children, you become like the 5 people that you spend your time with. And we have to get really picky when we're short of time and we haven't got great boundaries who we spend our time with, because it's contagious, isn't it, energy? So that's really important. So who was your greatest influence this year? A lot of you are saying you're getting support from friends and family, so it might be your friends and family. He's gorgeous and he gives good hugs. Oh, you got a hug as well. Yeah, I think maybe Gary Barlow might be better than my hot water bottle, Elaine. Great. My greatest influence was my therapist. She's just been a lifesaver for me, and I trust her implicitly, and she has taught me a lot professionally and personally, and I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for her. So I'm very grateful for her. Yourself has been your greatest influence. Amazing, Fiona. Greatest influence, that one's hard, yeah. And I think we all need people. I mean, it's good to listen to yourself, but if we're sort of learning and we want to grow and develop, it is good to surround ourselves with all different types of people. I was coaching a young girl tonight and I was saying to her, you know, you get stuck in a classroom with 30 kids. The chances of your soulmate friend being in amongst those 30 kids that you have to spend 5 days a week with is really slim. So you need to put your eggs in one basket. You need to kind of, join clubs and put yourself out there and meet lots of different people, because it's unlikely that you're going to find one person that's going to fulfill all your requirements, isn't it? Oh, me and your best friend? Oh, thanks, Caroline. Thank you. Oh, it's nice to have a best friend like that, isn't it? You're not sure, Karen? That's all right. Your tutors possibly and your counsellor, yeah. You have such a unique relationship with a counsellor. It's so unique. Honestly, if you've had one, you'll know what I mean. but it has a very profound influence on you. I think it's that secure attachment they give you. It's just profound. You've learnt lots from me, have you? It's really nice to hear that, but sometimes I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall, as you know. It's really hard on Facebook because I know that not all my messages get out, and as you know, I carefully spend hours crafting messages and making sure that you get informed about the things that I think are important, that I think will help you. And I get frustrated because sometimes my reach is really low, but I don't get the engagement. That's why, because people don't want to comment. Although when I posted about what Hoover to buy, it caused a massive debate and he blew up my Facebook page. So it's fine to talk about handbags and Hoovers, but anything to do with your family, forget it. Forget it, Lise. Just forget it. Try something else. Yes, I got what you were saying, Fiona. You're listening to your own inner voice. Amazing. So you're in touch with your intuition, and that, that is right, isn't it? 99.9% of the time. So, and that's a really amazing place to be in. Really amazing. I've listened to you about Hoover too. I'm obsessed with my Dyson. Obsessed with it. So let's move on to... Oh, one more thing. What's been your biggest lesson in 2018? What's been your biggest lesson? You might not want to share this one. It might be too personal. But if you can share, that would be great. Mine is the same as Fiona's, to trust and listen to myself. And I've only been able to do that because I've been connected to my feelings. And I've been able to set boundaries with myself and other people. So, it's an internal boundary when I say, no more Jaffa cakes, Lise. You open the box, you're only having one, you're not having the whole box. It's like talking to a small child. The small child will always want the whole box of Jaffa cakes. You just have to say, what you really need, little Lisa, is a cuddle. You don't need a box of Jaffa cakes. You need a cuddle. Have a cuddle with your hot water bottle. It sounds crazy. I think it's the warming sensation that feels like a hug. That's kind of feels like being held, doesn't it? So yeah, what's been your biggest lesson of this year? Doing well so far, guys. Good chatting. Boundaries have been massive too. Yeah, they're huge. Honestly, you just can't live life without them. I don't know how I did for so long. Well, I didn't really. I can still do things despite your health issues, but you need to be realistic. Yeah, so you need to go at your own pace and you need to realise when it's time to stop and rest. Listen to your body. It's really good. Awesome. I also agree you've been a huge influence this year. Oh, Amy, as I have reached age 7, son, as have your recommended guidance in AHA parenting books and website. Yes, that's been helpful. Awesome. Thanks, Amy. Hi, Amy. Nice to see you here. I'm glad I'm helping you. That's so nice to hear. Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you. Leave the past in the past. Emma, that's your lesson for this year. Yeah. Do you think learn from the past and then leave it where it is? Because I think there's always gifts. Even in the most painful situations, I always think there's something for us to learn. I know it sounds really philosophical. And I don't always think it's about forgiveness. I think it is about letting go. Because the only person you're hurting really, if you're carrying all that shit around, is you, isn't it? It doesn't affect the other person, I think. Biggest lesson, not to get upset by your daughter and expect that I absolutely love her, but we don't have to always get on, and that's okay. That's a good lesson to learn, isn't it? Conflict is healthy in relationships. You can still love someone and be mad at them with them at the same time, can't you? Pretty much. At times we just need to keep our distance, but also come together and celebrate those times. Yeah, so sometimes you need a bit of space in relationships. Boundaries. Oh, it's the boundaries again. We do need space. And lots of us need space to recharge, which I think is really hard when you're a mum to create that space. Some of us like to be around people to recharge and some of us like to be on our own. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I'm not a mum, because I need to be on my own a lot. Such an unsociable bugger. I'm not, but I for all sorts of reasons, I need to be by myself. Elaine, as a family, listen, talk and find time to relax. Mental health is very important, isn't it just? I just think if you haven't got your health, and those of you that suffer with chronic health issues or suffer with mental health issues, and I don't really like saying that because we're not suffering, but because that makes us, it's healable, isn't it? But we're healing ourselves. But I do think that if you don't have your health, you might as well pack up and go home. It's really important, and people overlook that. Also learnt to add the phrase, and that's okay, on the end of statements. Oh yeah, I'm angry and that's okay. I need a hug and that's okay. Yeah. Oh, I haven't got those cards here. I bought these really amazing. Those of you that are Energy Pod, you know I draw those little cartoons that say, and that's okay, or well done, and the other little cards, the drawings. I bought a deck of cards with all of those on. They are awesome. The lady does all the artwork. She's so talented. I think they're from, I think they might have come from the States. Anyway, I'll have to bring them to the Energy Pod with me next week and show you them. Right, let's move on to what's not working. Parenting with empathy and emotional intelligence. Well done, Amy. Awesome. Only way to parent in my head. Only way to parent if you want to bring up a child with healthy self-esteem. And definitely got to be in touch with your emotions. I think more than your sort of IQ, really. I think times have changed since I was a child in the 80s, showing my age now. Right, let's move on to what's not working. I want you to take 3 areas of your life. I'm going to read some of them out to kind of prompt you, but you'll probably know what's not working. And I want you to write down what's not working. So I'm thinking about things like relationships, your health, your finances, your job, your parenting style, your family, your self-care, your home and your surrounding, your physical environment, or your routine. They were some of the things I thought of. Can you think of anything else? But mostly the things that are topmost in your mind are probably the things that you need to go to work on. Or maybe you just need to be accepting of them the way that they are. Let's have a look and see. It's really hard to create space when there is no one to help with space. 2 out of 3 children have Senko. Our toilet is full of nice magazines so I can go for a read for 5 minutes. Yeah, and sometimes that's what you have to do to create space, isn't it? I follow a lady called Mother Pucker on Instagram. She's always loitering in the toilets to get a bit of peace and quiet. Yes, so does anyone want to volunteer anything that's not working? If you don't, I can kind of coach you blind. I have a list of questions. I think for me, what wasn't working in my business was working face to face. And the bravest thing I did last year was get rid of my coaching room. And actually, the last quarter of the year of 2018 was the best I'd ever done in terms of financially since I started my business 10 years ago. So what does that tell you? I wanted to be clearer about who I was. I wanted to say, I'm not a counsellor, I'm a coach. And my job is to get results for your family. And I felt that all the time I had that room, the children would just come and talk to me and parents say, oh, they just want someone to talk to. They don't just want someone to talk to. They want to learn how to get emotional connection. And the reason why they're not getting that is because they're not emotionally literate. So I can teach them and give them strategies and tools. And obviously I do listen and I do mop up and I do empathise and I do all of those things. But I'm more than that. And I didn't want to be known as a counsellor, and I just felt having that room, it was very easy to get comfy in that chair and chat away, and actually nothing got done. And you could say, well, maybe that's what those children needed and that was enough, but it's not what I'm here to do. And I didn't feel comfortable with it. So that wasn't working for me, and I took a leap of faith, and I'm really glad that I did. Right, so let's have a look at some of these. Parenting style and routines, okay. Self-care and time management, okay. Not working, creating space, okay. Meal times, fussy eating, sibling competitiveness, anger. The family dynamic can be very challenging and loud and shouty, okay. Not working, giving yourself time and to recharge. So when you look at the areas that family communication, okay, well done, Elaine. When you look at the areas that need work and they're not working, I want you to think about. So if you've got a lot of them, just take one for now. Just take one, because you can sit and journal on the other ones afterwards or maybe as we go along. I want you to look at the thing that's not working, and I want you to think about what part of that are you in control of. I want you to look at it why it's not working, what's stopping it from working, What's standing in the way of it working? What would it look like if it was working? So, for example, today I asked a little boy if coaching was helping him, and he said no. And I said, what would it look like if it was helping? And he said, you would be making me smile. And I said, it's not my job to make you happy, it's your job. And he didn't agree with me. So that was an interesting session, because that's his filter, that's his perception of the world. And obviously, in some families where we're codependent, we take care of each other's feelings. We feel responsible for other people's feelings. We're not. And that's emotional boundaries. That's weak emotional boundaries. So what's stopping it from working? And if it was working, what would it look like? So what are you aiming for? And when you look at the whole picture, what part of that are you in control of? Okay, so do that bit first. And what I want to say to you, and I've got a list of excuses here that might be holding you back, so I'm going to share them with you while you think about answers to those questions. Excuse me, just have some of my tea. How many of you are blaming? If the reason it's not working is because it's someone else's fault, that's not within your control, and that will not help you get the results you want. Okay? So if you're saying, my child is too this, or my husband never does that, or my cat does this, or the milkman never does that, that ain't ever going to work for you, because you have to take responsibility. What part of that are you in control of? What are you responsible for? If you're saying you haven't got enough time or you haven't got enough money, you need to reprioritize. So where are your priorities? So people will often say, oh, I haven't got enough time to do that. Oh, that feels like hard work. Like when you talk about a coaching course, they say, oh, that feels like hard work. And I say, isn't it hard work though that it takes 4 hours to get your kids to bed every night? Yeah, but so what are you going to do? Spend 4 hours learning how to do it differently, or spend 4 hours chasing your children around the house trying to get them to bed every night? And this is what I mean. People will spend money and time on things that are important to them. So it's obviously more important to that lady to spend 4 hours chasing her children around the bedroom every night than it is to sit down and learn how to do it differently. And the reason for that is because when we start talking about doing things differently and we have to change something, we get scared because it's an unknown quantity, and our brain starts coming up with a gazillion and one reasons why we can't do it. But we have to, in order to get results, we need to push through the fear, and we won't get results unless we take action and push through the fear. And that's what you hire a coach for, really, to get you to the other side of that. Those of you that are saying, I feel overwhelmed, or it's too hard, or I'm confused, what are you confused about? Normally when you're overwhelmed, again, are you putting out fires and firefighting? Is it urgent, or are you just reacting? When your phone rings, do you stop everything and pick it up, even though you're in the middle of doing something else? Why can't that wait? In the old days, we had landlines. People couldn't get hold of you like straight away. Unless your child's ill at school and you're waiting for a phone call from the school, it's not urgent or important. What you're doing now is, are you externally focused? Is your attention being taken away by 1,000,001 different things and you're not focusing on the task in hand? Is that what makes it difficult to prioritize? Where are you putting your time and attention? Quite hard questions. You have to be really honest with yourself. It's not about making anyone wrong. It's about being honest, because if you want to get results, you've got to be honest. I also want, when you say it's too hard, things are hard when you don't know how to do them. When you do something new, they take time and patience, and you won't get results with things like this. When you're like, parenting is really hard, right? They don't teach you how to do this stuff. There's no manual on it. You learn how from watching your parents do it, or from watching your parents fluff it up, or from watching other people do it, or from reading books. There's no right way to do it. You kind of have to feel your way to parenting. It's a relationship, isn't it? So it will be hard, and it will take time, and it will be confusing, and it will be overwhelming. But you've got to push through that to get to the other side. Okay, let's go back to what's not working and see what you've written. Despite being able to see the possible, all in your control, but seem to lack motivation. Lots in your control, but not sure how to do it better. Okay, so lacking clarity, lacking information, lacking motivation. You've got lots to do. So sometimes when you've got lots to do you have to do it? when it comes to the form filling, I know it sounds ridiculous. Do you have to do it? That is probably a yes, but there are lots of things. So when I coached some mums a couple of years ago, we talked about our job description as a mum, and we sat down and we thought about all the things that we did, and we looked at what our priorities were. So for me, okay, when you're not feeling motivated, feelings are created by thoughts. So the work that you need to do there to break the cycle is on all the thoughts that you're having around not feeling motivated. Usually I can't do it. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I'm just saying usually I'm overwhelmed. I can't do it. It's too hard. I'm confused. There'll be a lot of thoughts attached to those feelings, which are making you feel demotivated. If you can't move beyond that feeling, you won't be able to take action and you won't get results. So that's why I prefer, and this is how I'm going to do it in the energy pod for those of you that are coming next week, I'm going to set goals by feelings. I'm going to set goals on how do you want to feel. And how you want to feel is going to be created by the thoughts you think. We don't need to go there tonight, but that it's definitely worth thinking about. So when you are overwhelmed and not prioritizing, have you got a plan? And have you prioritised? Like, is this more... Like, I can remember some of the mums sort of saying, oh, well, I've got loads of chores to do and I've got loads of this and I've got loads of that. And I was saying, so is it more important to you to have a tidy house than to learn how to set boundaries with your child? To which the answer was yes. So I can't argue with that. But then you can't come at me and say, my child won't listen to me or my child doesn't respect my no, because you're too busy cleaning the house to learn how to do that. If you've only got a certain amount of hours in the day, you have to prioritise what's important. So that's why it's important to look at what is important to you. What is important to you? And that's normally in line with what your values are. I think when we're very externally focused on what other people think of us, and we're concerned with, constant tidying is a flight response to stress. Those of you that have done my training, my free training that I did last quarter on what is your response to your child, fight, flight, freeze or fawn, constantly busying and tidying but not really achieving very much, just making sure everything looks nice, is a flight response. You're running from something, you're running from yourself. So it's like I can't get into each one of yours individual situations, because I could probably coach you down to the grain of saying, well, is that are you saying that that's more important than that? You know, I think personally what it comes down to, this is just my personal opinion, is it comes down to self-care. And part of self-care is your mental health, your thought management, your emotional intelligence. So if you're taking care, so say in your priorities, you're saying my kids are more important than anything else in my life. I don't think that's true. Because if you're not here and you don't take care of yourself, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're lost. They need you. They need you when they're young, not all the time. So I think when it comes down to priorities, your priority must be your self-care above everything. And your self-care includes being able to set boundaries with yourself, your mental and emotional health, and your physical health for some of you. If you are not firing on all cylinders and you are not, on your A game, how hard is it to be a mum? It's really hard anyway. But that has got to be more important than passing the Dyson round the house every day and emptying the dishwasher. Surely. I don't know. I don't know what it's like for you. I can't tell you what it's like for you. But for me, it's a fundamental thing. If you do not feel good about yourself, mentally and emotionally, how can you be a mum? It's too hard. It's too hard. So I think that has to be your priority. So whatever isn't working in your life, if you break it down, it's probably down to the fact that your self-care needs looking at. And your self-care includes boundaries, saying no to other people, saying no to yourself, saying no to your kids, getting your needs taken care of, asking for what you want, being connected to your feelings, being aware of what's going on for you. You can say I'm wrong because I'm not you, so you can challenge me on it. So with food, I do modify recipes so that everyone will eat, but it really hacks you off. Boundaries, Caroline. Is it acceptable to you, Caroline, that you cook a different meal for every person in your family? And what would happen if you didn't? Oh, that came out really strict. I didn't mean for it to come out so strict. I didn't mean for it to come out so strict, Caroline. Sorry. I know you know me, so you won't have taken it that way. Caroline, what are you doing? Sorry, Caroline. That just came out really strict. It annoys you that your eldest is now choosing his own food, but you're allowing him to. Where are your boundaries, woman? I'm teasing you. But what you allow will continue. And this is where you need to have good boundaries and say no to yourself and to your kids. And that's why you need to be really clear about who you are and what you will and won't accept from other people. What is acceptable to you? You think I'm spot on, Lindsay? Thank you. I only know that from my own struggle, and I'm not even a mum. And I can't begin to tell you how I can't even function as a human being without good self-care. So God knows how you lot cope. God knows. Honestly. And I have been neglecting myself for years, emotionally and mentally and physically. And I know it comes down to self-love, and that sounds really cheesy, but also think of the gift that you're giving your kids when you love and respect yourself. What are you role modelling to them? It's the biggest gift you can give them. The biggest gift. You think that makes a lot of sense, but it's a lot easier to hoover and empty the dishwasher than to deal with the kids. Much easier to control. Yeah, Michelle, you've hit the nail on the head, haven't you? Running from yourself. But we all do it. We all do it. I will. Today I had to write this training. I have cleaned myself up my own backside as opposed to sitting down and making my notes. Or already knew up here what I wanted to kind of say, but was thinking how can I put it together in a way that would be most helpful. But avoiding looking at the stuff that's difficult when that's the stuff that we need to pay attention to, right? That's the stuff we need to pay attention to. I'm only playing with you because I do it and I know how the game's played because I play the game. And I think we should stop playing the game. I think in 2019 we should say to ourselves, my priority is me and it's not selfish. And if I am in a good place and I am sorted, my kids will be. Because they feed off our energy. They feed off the way that we are. I need to learn to say no. I can't do it at all. And it's okay to ask for help. Well done, Elaine. That's brave to say that out loud. You do. It doesn't make you any less likeable if you say no to anybody. Practice saying no to me. I can hear your no. I can. Spot on, says Fiona. I absolutely agree with having boundaries, but it's hard sometimes when your eldest gets angry and gets verbally and physically aggressive due to saying no. Yeah, so it's really hard for that child to hear no. So we are going to talk about anger at the end. Let's just finish off our not working. So when we get to what's not working, it's like, what are your choices? So this is where your priorities come in, where you start saying, is this more important than this? Is this more important than this? Is this more important than this? So you probably need to sit down with your things that aren't working and you need to ask yourself, what bit am I in control of? Because you can't touch the rest of it. If it's something to do with somebody else. So in the case of the angry child, you're not in control of that child's anger. You're not in control of how they feel. You are only in control of setting and upholding your boundary and helping them calm down. It's a bit difficult when they're physically aggressive, but I have got some pointers that I can give you and some resources that I can direct you to. You need to look at how it makes you feel, the thing that's not working. So what feelings is it bringing up in you and what's stopping it from working and what your choices are. We always forget we have choices. I always forget. I get stuck with stuff and I think, oh, I'm doing this now. Yeah, it's my dad's phrase ringing in my head. You made your bed, so you have to lie in it. No, you frigging well don't. Get up and make another one. You have choices, woman. Have choices. And then also I'd like you to ask, when things aren't working, what are you ignoring and what are you in denial about? So we lie to ourselves. We say to ourselves, oh, it'll be all right. It's just a phase. Or like today, I lied to myself because I did the cleaning over something else that was more important. I consider myself to be a very honest person. I lied to myself. denial. It's not your friend, denial. It keeps you stuck. I can't function if everything isn't tidy. You feel like you can't concentrate. Yeah, that's perfectionism, Claire. I'm the same. It's kind of like an OCD. It's a flight response to trauma, to stress. And that's been created a long time ago, my lovely. So that does need looking at, because you feel if you're not organised, you can't feed your kids or get them to bed. And keeping organised and keep everything clean, tidy is for your family and not for you. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but yeah, so you've had a bit of an aha moment there. I mean, it is true, like they say, tidy house, tidy mind, don't they? But I think when you start to love yourself, Claire, as cheesy as it sounds, you stop giving a toss about what things look like on the outside. And so I'm not saying you turn into a slovenly slut that never cleans the toilet bowl. But what I'm saying is that those things there's other things that become more important, because it doesn't matter what things look like. It matters how you feel and how your kids feel. I hear what you're saying, because I have the same, it's a flight response. It's like OCD tendencies. And it is about control, because a lot of things in life we don't have control over. So I notice when I start needlessly cleaning or trying to, it's my way of taking back control. And that comes from my childhood, where everything was really chaotic and out of control. And that is me being triggered into a very young version of myself when I do that. And they get fed and go to bed on time, but not sure if they would if I wasn't so organised. But there's levels of organisation, isn't there? So, you know, can you dial it down a notch with the organisation so you've got more time to do other things? I don't know. That's just something worth thinking about. What I'm in control of is the amount of time you spend with each child. You are. I'd love a tidy house, but my time sitting on the floor with my kids and friends and family is more important. Yeah, so everyone has got different priorities. So Claire, if it is really important for you to have a tidy house, then maybe that's... But then you're saying, is a tidy house more important than your self-care? I don't actually think it is. I think it could be part of your self-care, but not all of it. And I also think that tidying up keeps you from being intimate with your children. I just have this vision of my mum at the sink washing up with her back to me as I sit behind her and thinking, I can't reach you. And she just turns around and goes, oh, let's clear this up. She's like a whirling dervish of clearing up. And I'm just thinking, where are you? I can't feel you. You're too busy. You're running around. Your energy's like this. I can't feel you, mummy. Stay still. Be with me. You know? Now I do the same. So let's go on to what you enjoy. What do you enjoy about being a mum? Let's talk about that again. What do you enjoy about being... What I enjoy about my job is the energy pod. I feel like I've created something I'm really proud of. If you're a family that comes to the energy pod, say I. We have a small group. There's only about 8 families in there. The kids love it. We've all kind of formed as a group. We sort of started last year, and I really enjoy taking those classes. I love connecting with the children in that way. I love seeing you see their response to me, and I love the fact that you're all learning together. That's connection. That brings you closer together as families. That fills my heart up with joy. I love it. And I also love writing the podcast for the kids because I get to be a bit silly. I get to be a bit childish. I do hate tidying, so do anything to get out of it. There you go. So you've got different priorities, haven't you? You've got different priorities, Claire and Tracy. So you kind of have to look at what's important to you. I totally get what you're saying, Claire. I'm the same. I'm exactly the same as you. Exactly the same. But it is a need to control your environment, I think. Love the energy pod for yourself as well as the boys, and love the podcast too. Cool. I love it. I love it. I always wanted to be an author as a child. I loved Enid Blyton. So it's kind of like it's a little channel for me to... And it's a really nice way to talk to the kids and reach them. The ones that I'm coaching that listen to the podcast, they say, why did you say that in your podcast? And is it true that you did this when you were growing up? And did you da-da-da-da-da? And I think it's funny. Yeah, so is there anything you do enjoy about being a mum? And I do think that it's important to find the joy in your day-to-day life, because I do think clearing up after other people's stuff is very monotonous and boring. So how can you actually, I think it was Karen who said her year had been fun at the beginning, one of her 3 words, like finding the joy, finding the laughter, because life can get really heavy. A lot of you are dealing with like mega stuff and it can get really heavy. And I think finding the joy is important, and breaking out of your ruts and breaking out of your routines and standing back and going, why are we doing it like this? Let's do it differently. Yes, you can be a kid again. But we've all got an inner child inside of us, and that's why the self-care is important, because the little girl, or the little boy if you're a dad watching this, inside of you still needs time and attention. And if you ignore her or him, then that's when you become miserable or depressed or shouty and angry or intolerant. Enjoy seeing them grow and develop and see the wonders in the world. Spending time down the yard, watching her so happy and relaxed with the pony, hearing about their day, fun things they say, seeing exciting stuff with them, and through their eyes, they still see the world as a really magical place, don't they? And they're so pragmatic about stuff sometimes, like where we overcomplicate stuff because of all the things that have happened to us. They just tell it like it is, and you just think, wow, what happened to me? I used to be like that. Seeing them get over their struggles, spending time actively doing things with them, even if it's just for 5 minutes, lovely. Love learning from your kids about what's important to them, as it's so different to what was important to me, isn't it? I think we forget that they're different and separate to us. So what do you hate doing? Do you want to talk about what you hate doing, and then let's tag that onto question time? But I think about, if you look at the things that need work and you want to set goals around them, for me, don't set goals that say things like do less cleaning or do this or do that. Say, how do I want to feel every day? Okay. So Claire, can I take you as an example? Because I'm thinking that you want to feel more in control, because I'm hearing that when you feel in control and organised, that makes you feel happy. So maybe your goal is to feel more in control, but are there other ways that you can feel in control that don't involve doing that? I don't know. I don't know the answers. I'm just trying to kind of get you to mix it up and see it in a different way. Maybe. Also enjoying restorative yoga once a month. Oh, that's good, Lelaine. Oh, that's really quite big, doing restorative yoga. It can be quite triggering, actually. It can bring up lots of old stuff and be quite emotional. Well done. That's really good. Do you do it near where you live? We've got a lady that does it here in Weybridge. She's amazing. Hate doing bedtime and getting ready for school. So routines you don't like, Michelle. Hate doing getting up early. Yeah. Well, if you're a nighttime owl and you're not an early bird, then it's always going to be a struggle to get up early, isn't it? So are you willing to go to bed earlier? I think it is all about what we're willing to do, what we're willing to give up to get our results. Or so we're willing to take action, or are we ready to let go of something or give something up? And sometimes we're not, or we hold on to stuff even though we know it's really bad for us and not good for us or our families, but we don't want to let go of it because it's more comfortable and more familiar to us than starting something new, isn't it? So if you want to feel motivated, going back to, I think it was you, Karen, that said, I don't feel motivated, you need to do a thought download, a thought dump, lovely word, of all the thoughts that are attached to when you feel demotivated. And you need to spot for the black and white thinking, the ants. Because it's the ants that are driving the bus. It's your thinking that's driving the bus. And you can choose to think differently, but you have to be aware of what you're thinking to start off with. So I can take that one because I have to do that as well a lot. Trying to help resolve family battles, it's exhausting. is it your job to sort them out? Is it your job to sort them out? Do you have to be the referee? Can you delegate that job? Or what would happen if you didn't do it? Caroline, why do I put on a strict voice when I talk to you? I wanted to be kinder. A reminder to be kinder. Don't enjoy, hate is a strong word, household chores. Yeah, I don't think anyone really likes. If you won the lottery, would you all hire a cleaner? Apart from Claire. Claire could come round and do your cleaning for you. Claire, you like tidying up and organising, don't you? So do I. I've got my new Dyson. I'll be there to help you out. Hate food shopping and thinking of different things to cook each night. So can you delegate that? Can you delegate that job to Erin and your other half and say, you write the menu for this week and you go online, because you can go online and get the food shop now. Could you delegate it just for a week and see what happens? It's my job to ensure no one gets physically hurt. Yeah. But then if people are physically hurting each other, that tells me that there aren't strong enough boundaries in your house and there aren't enough rules around kind hands and feet. And there's another issue behind that. So it maybe isn't about refereeing the kids. Maybe it's about what's driving the behaviour between the children. So if there's a lot of competition and a lot of rivalry, what's driving that? It's normally unmet needs from one of the children or jealousy. I mean, some sibling rivalry is quite common, but it depends on what degree. Yes, a cleaner and a house organiser. I had that and now get Gusto delivered, once a week, 4 meals. There you go. We plan meals for the week together and shop online, makes it 1 day a week. That it's hard. Yeah. So it's really good that you're sharing ideas, guys, because there are different ways of doing things. I mostly think that it's about relinquishing control. Who wants to be honest and own that and say, I don't want to delegate it because no one's going to do it as well as I do. Or I should be doing that because I'm a mum and I'm a crap mum if I don't do X, Y and Z. Who's running that narrative in their head? Like, it's a mum's job to do X, Y and Z. Who said? Who said it's a mum's job to do X, Y and Z? Why can't it be dad's job? Why can't it be someone else's job? Why does it always have to fall at your feet? It doesn't. But it's, are you willing to let go of it and let someone else do it? Are you willing to relinquish the control? What are you going to let go of in 2019? Hi, Nikki. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. Hope you're all right. So, before you all come at me with your questions, because I'm aware of the time, and I just want to say to you, I do have a special offer for you. So while you're typing your questions into the chat roll, just hear me out. In my work, there's 2 things that I think that you guys need more than anything else. And that, as they've already been mentioned a lot tonight, boundaries and emotional literacy. All right? I have a course for you. I have a boundaries course, which has got empathy in it. It's got soul searching and work with your inner child. It's got basic boundary settings, so your internal boundaries, so you can say no to yourself. It's also got an advanced boundaries in action 2-hour masterclass. It's got a set of scripts of what to say, and it's got some classes on setting values and rules in your house, establishing rules and values and routines in your house. Those of you that are at the Energy Pod have already done that, so you know how to do that. The course is £149, but in with it, I'm going to throw in my Energy Pod collection, which is 8 of my Energy Pod replays, and a copy of my ebook, How to Rediscover the Magic of Parenting in a Busy World, which is 30 days to connect with your child. Those of you who were in the old chatty club will have already done it. So you get that for £149. Those 2 bonuses are worth 140 quid on their own. They're the 2 things I really want you to have to kick off your new year, because I think they will really, 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 really help you. How do you know if you need them? If you're emotionally deregulated, so if you're easily overwhelmed, or you've got anxiety and depression, if you've got poor emotional boundaries, so you're approval seeking, you're people pleasing, you're socially anxious, you lack empathy, or you take things personally, it's for you. If you've got default, like go-to feelings like anxiety and anger, if you live in your head, so when I ask you how you feel, you don't name a feeling, you tell me a story. That means you live in your head. If you're easily triggered by your child, by unconscious beliefs and thoughts that you haven't uncovered from your childhood, if you're uncomfortable being around your child when they're angry, sad, or worried, then that's a sign that you're emotionally deregulated because you're externally focused on what they're doing. You're not, the control is here within you. And you don't take responsibility for your feelings. So you put responsibility outside of yourself and you give your power away. So that's a sign that you're emotionally deregulated. How do you know that you need boundaries? You're a fixer. You try and change other people, including your child. So your focus is all on your child and not on you, where you've got the control. You're overly responsible. You're preoccupied with everything outside of you. Those of you who are flight response, who are getting busy doing stuff, you cannot be happy unless your child is happy. You can't say no. You feel overwhelmed. Your child's problem also then becomes your problem. That gives you something else to focus on, so you don't stay here with yourself. You lose yourself in other people. It's the urge to merge. You feel out of control, you feel unsafe, you feel anxious, you do things to excess, you've got no internal stop button, and you go from 0 to 100 like that. So you can just, you allow, no darling, you go like that. So that's a sign, sorry, it's a bit shouty, that you need boundaries. So they're the two things that show up in my coaching room day after day after day. And you can have all of those things for £149. Absolute bargain. It's worth 300 quid. You can get your hands on them by going to smileyforlife.com/Jan 2019, Jan 2019 offer. So smileyforlife.com/Jan 2019 offer. You can get your hands on all of those things. This offer will last until the end of January. So I will be promoting it throughout January. This is just to kick it all off and get people thinking about, just take away tonight how you're going to do things differently. You don't have to keep repeating. If you keep repeating the same thing, if you get up and do the same thing every day and expect something to change, you're going to drive yourself nuts. Nothing will change unless you do. Nothing. So I want you, I'm going to come and answer your questions, but as a final thought for today's training, if you're not hanging around to answer questions, I want you to commit to doing something different tomorrow, which means that you will end up with a different result. So you need to take action to get results. So what are you going to do differently tomorrow when you get up? How is your day going to be different? What will you do differently? Right, coming to the chat roll. That was the exact thought that crossed my mind when you suggested it. If I delegated, they wouldn't do it as well as me. Michelle, I love your honesty. I'm the same. I'm an absolute control freak. I am. It's so hard to delegate. You ask the lady that works for me. She deserves a medal. Tracy, what's love bombing? Love Bombing is a book by Oliver James. I think we talked about it in the Chatty Club, Caroline. And I think it's on my book resources page, smileyforlife.com/library. It's James Oliver or Oliver James. Google him. He wrote They Fuck You Up and Don't Fuck Them Up. He wrote They Fuck You Up, Your Mum and Dad, before he had kids. And then when he had kids, he wrote Don't Fuck Them Up. Sorry if you've got small people listening. Sorry for the F-bomb there, I just dropped. The letting go is hard, but when I manage to let go, it's amazing how things get done and it's actually okay. Yes. It is really hard to let go, isn't it? It's hard to trust. And actually, control is not about control. And it's more about trusting yourself and other people. So how much do you trust your child to learn, to have the courage of their convictions, to do it for themselves? How much do you not trust and then end up controlling by way of loving and helping them, but actually holding them back? Each child gets half a day with me when they choose what we do, and there's a start and a finish time. Well, that's the love bombing. Yes, that's the love bombing. So love bombing is having one day a month, I think he suggests, or as often, you wouldn't want to do it every week, where your child gets the control. Because children don't really, it's about them having choices, isn't it? Because when they're at school, they operating under someone else's timetable and another set of rules. Love bombing is proven to be very successful. But it's going back to that whole philosophy that we did at Chatty Club, Caroline, about what's your child's love language, what's your love language, are you connecting in with their love language every day? Because they need to rest in your love, they need to feel your love. And when children are fighting and competing with each other, they don't need the same thing, they need to get their needs met. They don't need the same things. We don't all need I don't need the same things as you don't need the same things as me. But if I see someone meeting all your needs and I'm not getting my needs met, then I'm going to start to feel jealous of you and I'm going to start to compete with you, aren't I? There is a blog post. There is a really good book called Siblings Without Rivalry, which is also in the library, smileyforlife.com/library, if you'd like to pick up a copy of that. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's written by the lady that wrote How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and How to Listen So Kids Will Talk. Coming back. Anyone got any other questions they want to ask me? Oh, we've got to talk about the angry. So going back to how do you get them to own their feelings though? You have to let them feel their own feelings. A lot of the time, if you minimize or distract, or if you're frightened of their feelings and you can't hold the space for them while they're having their feelings, then they won't be able to feel their own feelings. And a lot of the time we don't ask them to direct themselves. So we don't ask them to connect to themselves so they know what to do next. A lot of the time we're giving instructions and we're over-parenting them. And actually they need to learn to think for themselves and be a little bit more independent. I don't really know enough about your story, but in my experience, it's emotional boundaries there. It's a lack of emotional boundaries. So we are uncomfortable seeing our child experience certain feelings, maybe because we're uncomfortable with them in ourselves, or we're not connected to that part of ourselves, or maybe we were shamed for those feelings when we were growing up. Anger is one, which is a hot button for lots of people. There is a course actually, Tracy, in the online learning den called How to Tame Your Angry Dragon, which talks about how to deal with meltdowns, but it also teaches your children how to deal with their anger and what their anger means, because a lot of children that I speak to will say, it's bad to be angry. And it's like, well, it's not actually bad to be angry. You need to be angry because anger is your warning light on the dashboard that tells you need to set a boundary. Your anger comes in when you don't like something. So when you say no to your child, it's appropriate. I mean, not the levels of anger you're talking about, not the aggression. It's appropriate for them to be angry. It's appropriate because they're not liking what you're saying. So it's appropriate for them to be angry. So we don't want to shut that side of them down, because that's what, if we can set boundaries with people, if we can hear no, we can say no, and that means we can keep ourselves safe and we can choose to hang out with the right types of people. Does that make sense? Don't know if that makes sense. Has anyone got any other questions they want to ask me? I hope you found tonight's training helpful. I hope it's given you some food for thought. I always think it's good to just take a step back and look at where you've come from and where you're heading. If anyone wants any help with the bits that aren't working, specifically, if you name your struggle or your challenge, I can probably point you to a course or a blog post or a podcast or something that will help you, because there's over 100 blogs I think we worked out the other day on the website, or a book or a video. There's so much stuff that I can help you with, but it would help if you named your struggle. Thank you, very insightful. Thank you, excellent kickstart to 2019. Good. You're feeling a bit tired now, it's quite late. I've got my mum's Smiley Thought Cards here, which are all about self-care, so I was just going to pick one of those for you to finish off, and then we'll let you go sleep. Let's just pick one and see what we get. What do all these lovely mummies need for 2019? What do they need more than anything? Let's have a look. Going into 2019 with a much more positive mindset. Good, Elaine. Yeah, it's all in the mind, isn't it? Everything is about the mind. It's all in the mind. Oh, look at that. Spruce up your nest. Can you see that one? Little caravan. And on the back it said, it's time for a little spring clean. Maybe it's not just about your house though, those of you that like cleaning. Maybe it's about your emotional and mental housekeeping, like Elaine said, mindset. Your home, or this is sacred and your surroundings matter. Honour where you recharge and fill it with beauty. So fill this up with positive thoughts and make sure you recharge and you get space and you get time and you take care of yourself. Make space by giving away and donating what you don't need. So get rid of the thoughts in here that you're inner critic and shaming and not on your team, and get rid of people in your life that are toxic and hard work and high maintenance and cause you pain and anguish. Your clutter could be someone else's gold. Yeah, they can go and bother someone else. Those people, get rid of them. You don't need them in your life. And you don't need to feel bad about it either, because relationships just naturally sometimes just organically come to an end. Plus, when we have less to process physically, so when you clear out all the clutter in here and you've got space, we have more room to process the things that matter. So we have more time and attention to focus on what really matters to us. So working out your priorities, ladies, I think is really important. A clear head and a new room for great art awaits. Spruce up your fabulous nest. Isn't that nice? I love her drawings. It's back to front, isn't it? Because it's on the video. Right. Yes, the cards are lovely. They're in my library, Karen. They are by Chris Carr. They are called Crazy Sexy Love Notes. Her website is Crazy Sexy Cancer. She lives with a form of cancer and she's all into like juicing and her self-care. She says, when you're poorly, self-care needs to be your... Who's making self-care their number one priority next year? Can I get a yes, please? Can I get a yes? Can I get a yes? You need to define what self-care looks like for you. It's not just about having a manicure and a bath. It's about the way you talk to yourself. It's about taking care of your needs. Do you need another chocolate bar? Do you need a hug? It's about getting support. It's about asking for help. It's about listening to your body. It's about doing what you want to do. Yes, for sure. Yes, you need to. Yes, 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 everyone. Everyone look after yourself. Okay, so... if there's stuff that's come up for you tonight that you feel that you can't address on here because it's too much for a public forum, you know you can contact me, lisa@smileyforlife.com. I am here to help and support you. And as I say, if you want signposting onto a blog or a course or something to help you get started, or you need me to give you a bit more clarity, then get in touch. All right? The first thing you wrote down is not working, your self-care. Well done. Well done. Right, good night, everyone. Sweet dreams. See you all soon. Bye. Bye.